All right. So now we're gonna do just a quick roster review, guys. We're not gonna go through every player on your team and pick through it. No, we're just gonna pick a couple who maybe we thought was a steal in the draft, or maybe that just was a dud in the draft. Like, oh, we'll take a couple on each team. So don't take it personally because we're even gonna criticize our team. So Corey, we're going to start with Team Ramrod. Why don't you tell me which players you want to pick on here?
No, I'd say you had a pretty bad draft, but considering you started in the 13th round, you didn't do too bad. I think Stevenson in the 15th round was a pretty good pickup. I know he's a pretty well-rounded player. There's not anyone who can really criticize drafting in the 13th round or later. It's kind of hit or miss at that point, really.
Dodging a bullet here, boys.
Yep.
I took some risk on a couple young players, but I can afford to when I draft that late, right? So, yeah. Hopefully some of this works out. Like,
it's true.
So we won't say much about Ramrod though. I was happy with Stevenson. I think the one I was happy with too was Romanov. A lot of GMs have come calling for Romanov and Risto. If you were there when we were drafting, a lot of people were swearing they didn't realize Ristolainen was still there. So I snuck a few grinder defensemen out, but that was my plan going in, knowing I had crap to work with. I'm like, I want to make sure my grinding defensemen are my priority and just kind of shore up my team, my balance. So dirty TVT and the boys. So I know he moved a couple players, but let's talk about the ones that he drafted here. So who do you think was a good snag here? It's difficult because he had all high picks, right, for the most part. So
yeah, I'd say a bad one on his part. Matt Duchene, 7th round pick. I think last season was more of a fluke. I don't think he's gonna put up the exact same numbers. He could have probably got somebody else. But I think Tarasenko in the 6th round, just making sure he got him. He's a big player who could be keeper worthy if he got the surgery he wanted. Had a killer year last year. No reason he can't do it again. I like it.
I wanted to keep him. I didn't want to throw him back. I was looking for every reason to keep him. I love Tarasenko. Huge fan of the guy, and I couldn't justify it in the end, like throwing a goalie back in to keep a 4th forward. Yeah. So it just didn't make sense. But I love Tarasenko. I think that's a good pick. Again, he went with the grinder defenseman, right? Yeah, Gudis there, Larson, Nurse. Like he's got a good core. Now will his team show up?
Yeah.
The one thing too is that with Gaudreau, the Gaudreau pickup, I know we're going to talk about him. Landeskog draft pick, I thought was great too. Those could replace like Tage Thompson and Norris, obviously, in his keepers, right? So I think he improved his keeper base a bit. I don't like to compliment Travis, but we'll wait for the implosion. The implosion's coming. Cherry picking daddy here. So this guy went in with a strategy where he just wants to sell everything. So he doesn't think his keeper base is good enough. He doesn't think like his roster. He just wants to sell. So if you're looking to buy, Kyle's looking to sell. It might not be cheap, but he's looking to sell. What do you think of his draft?
Yeah, not a crazy draft. He didn't have a lot of really low picks. I like seeing him get Terry back. And he got him in the 9th round. So a guy thought he was going to end up keeping, but didn't. Was able to get him back. That's nice, and especially the 9th round. Nothing really I could say bad. Nothing looks out of place.
He probably should have went earlier, Terry. 37 goals last year. Like even if he puts up 30 again, like in the 9th round, it's a good pickup. I like that one. No, everything else, it just seems like it's just guys who could have a decent year, right? Borkstrand out in Seattle now. I think he could be good. Verona, he's been injured most of the last 2 years. If he can stay healthy, who knows what he can do?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to do y'all try the beef? Why don't you tell me about his draft here? What stood out for you?
He went for a little bit grittier of a team, I'd say, this year. Nothing looks too bad. Like Coleman got drafted in the 10th round, maybe a little bit early. He had less of a bigger role. I thought he was gonna have a bigger role when he came to Calgary last season when I drafted him, and he didn't. And I don't think he will this year either. But he got Kempe in the 9th round on LA, who I think is gonna have a good team. I think that was a good pickup though.
I like what he did with his team. I'm looking here. Look at his winger situation. All of them are dual wing, except for Wilson. But Wilson's not going to be playing for like 5 months. But there's flexibility there for his lineup, right? So the guys are all well-rounded two-way players who put up a little bit of everything. But they're going to play either wing. That gives them a lot of flexibility. So I actually like that strategy. I like Toffoli. I think that was a good pickup. I think
I agree
that's
with that one.
a sneaky good player that he's going to have on his team. But like you said, Kempe, I think LA is going to be even better than they were last year. So, oh, here's one of the auto drafts here. Dude, where's Makar? What'd you like about his draft? I mean, not that he did it, but what did you like about the auto draft? What did you hate? I know there's some to hate here.
There's definitely some things to hate, like Pacioretty in the 6th round. It's pretty bad. He got all the non-gritty players, I feel, because it's just been like the top rated
passed over.
But he's done a good job at turning them over, so it's working out. Like Goudreau in the 6th round, clearly that turned into another 6. Like that was a good pickup.
The one that really hurt him was Leonard.
Yeah,
he's not playing at all. He gives you zero value this year. Like,
and he's a guy who he needed goalies, and he had the draft picks to get something going, and to miss out on that big of a draft, I feel bad for him.
We understand why he missed, right? Like, it's understandable.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate he couldn't be there, and it's unfortunate that Yahoo kind of fucked him a bit. But
he's turning it around though.
He's turning it around.
And he was the guy who sold last year and made the playoffs, right? So
yeah, and I think he's doing a good job so far getting assets, right? He's got an extra 6, an extra 2 extra 7s, 9.
Exactly.
He's got the assets. So this I hate to compliment Braden, but this draft that he did, I was impressed with the direction he went. I even messaged him to tell him that. I said I was impressed with your draft, but he ignored me. A compliment from me, I guess. But Jagerbom's here. What'd you like about his draft?
One guy I was watching was Suzuki. He got him in the 12th round. I thought that was a really good pickup. There's nothing bad. I thought he drafted pretty well. He has a pretty gritty team. He has some youth. We'll see how they do. I don't like Bozer in the 11th. Probably could have got something a little bit better. He's been underperforming for a couple of years, below expectations, I'd say. But besides that, I think he did well.
He went with a balanced lineup this year, and I like that. All his guys provide more than just offense, right? So maybe Besser, but I mean Bennett. I love Bennett. I paid a 7th for him last year. I'd do it again if I had one. But I don't think you would trade him. I inquired. Kadri, I think that's a good pickup. Like he's still going to be good in Calgary, even without the secondary role in Colorado. Sanderson's an interesting pickup because he might break out this year. So, I was impressed with his draft, and I was more impressed with how he fixed his keepers last year. He walked away with 2 starting goalies now out of nowhere, Ottinger and Campbell, right? So
it's true.
The price for a lot of deals last year, but his team I don't think it's the last place team this year.
Not at all. Nope.
Clef bombed. What do you think of his draft?
Whew. Like he drafted Trouba in the 6th round and then traded him for a 7th. I mean, right there.
You drafted him in the 6th? I didn't know that.
Yeah. He got the Vladar back in Calgary. He has a pretty gritty team. You got Vejmelka again in the 13th round, not a bad pick. Shane Wright in the 13th. He always goes for those guys I find really young, the really young early picks. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But then he's selling right away. It seems a little bit.
Well, Wright was his last pick of the draft.
Yeah.
So
13th.
yeah, that was his last pick. He's like, well, I might as well take a chance. If I'm gonna take a chance, so why not the guy who was supposed to go number 1, right? So
Yeah.
I don't mind that at all. Like, that's a good gamble. You weren't there, but I had literally just asked before his pick. It was my pick coming up. I'm like, Shane, they want to pick Shane Wright yet? Like, I didn't want him then. I would have picked him maybe later, but it was his last pick. He picked right after me, and then right away Shane Wright's gone. Like he was watching him for a bit there, getting a little sweaty. Like, oh, is someone catching on? Are they catching on to me? I like that for his last pick of the draft. Low gamble, high return type of last pick in the draft. I like Trocheck, so I think that's a good pickup right there. I think Kyle's gonna have a better team than he did last year. Our league is just so much more competitive now. I don't know if it's enough, but we'll see, I guess, right? Some luck always helps in week to week, right? You might have a good team just go 0-5 to start, and
Sure.
you're fine. You're almost fine. Pat, you ready to rumble? All right, this was a draft that brought a lot of questions to the table. There was actually like a pretty heated discussion. I say heated because it was like they were talking pretty loud at each other, and it was all peaceful and nothing like that, right? They were just both trying to get their point across, and but this draft was very divisive. What did you think of it?
I mean, there's so many good picks he has that you're going to come out with something looking good no matter what. But I feel like he could have made some better choices, some more proven choices. I don't like him picking Thompson in the 6th round. I think that was pretty early. I really like Lindholm getting picked up from him though. Murray and Zegras, I feel like those are iffy for 7th rounders. Like he ended up flipping Murray to get the duo. But Zegras, I think he could have got something better than that too. Then he had a solid back end to the draft though, I'd say.
I'm a big fan of Zegras, so I'm going to disagree with you there. But my only issue with this draft is he picked up all these goalies, not needing them. That first goalie he picked, Georgiev, all right, I can get that. But then you're using high picks to get Murray and Thompson. Like, I would have just drafted some good players who were left. I know he wants to probably move some goalies. People always need goalies, and they're valuable, right? But if it was me, and that's his choice. But if it was me, I would have used those picks to grab a player I need for my team, and not hope to just trade for a player that I need with the goalies. Like,
hoping for an overpayment seems a bit right.
I do like some of his picks. So Hedman, great pickup. Fehervary there, he's good for Washington. Good grinder defenseman. Hakanpää, great grinder defenseman. I like the overall makeup of his team. I just think he could have been a lot more threatening had he went a different route with those with that Murray and Thompson pick.
Yeah, I agree.
Hugh's your daddy, so his first draft with us. What do you think? How do you think he did?
He picked quick in the 7th round, a little early. Maybe Kyrou. It's pretty one-dimensional, but he did really well offensively last year. Funny seeing Dougie Hamilton go to the 10th round. I think that was a pretty good pickup. Lafreniere in the 14th round. He's starting to really pick it up. I like that one a lot too. I thought he had a pretty good draft, but he went for a lot of scoring too. I noticed when I went back, and his goalies weren't good, but he's turned that around too, which is good.
I like the Lafreniere pick a lot. I think he's going to have a better year this year. I like Slavkovsky. That's a good risk for him to take. Again, a young guy who might pan out and pay high dividends, right? I don't mind. I kind of like what he's doing with his team. Just taking all these low risk, high reward guys. He doesn't need to compete right now. He needs to fix his team, and he's taking guys who could help him do that later in the season.
Yeah, I agree.
Or pan out and his team's fixed, right? So
it's true if you want to hold on, right?
All right, let's talk about our defending champion, Seaman on the ice. What do you think of his draft?
Taking Samsonov in 6th round.
He went before Murray.
I know, right? So, and then we don't really know who's going to get it. But I think he got Scheifele 8th round. I think that was a good pickup. Klingberg in 10th round. Not a big fan of him. I think that might have been a little early. I like
he's
Alex
one-dimensional.
Yeah, Alex Tuck. I like that pickup. If he can stay healthy, he's a really good. He's like a point per game player for sure. Taylor Hall, Tyson Berry, pretty late round pickups. Like, I think he did pretty well for what he had. He didn't have the best picks going into it. A couple 6th and 7th, but
what do you do with this sick? Oh, it's Samsonov, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Samsonov and Riley. When Riley, I feel like you could have added some better players there, but still be interesting to see. I don't think he should have been picked on 6th.
I couldn't believe. Can you imagine a world? Because he tried to trade. He offered me Huberdeau for Tkachuk. Can you imagine a world where that happens? A Huberdeau with a Tkachuk deal? Like, come on, get out of here. I like his draft. I don't know if it's repeat champion type lineup yet. He might have some tweaking to do. He's got a foundation for sure, but I think there's a little bit of work to do, a couple holes to fill, and he might be in contention again, right? So the base is there.
Yeah.
Suck my Ojic. Why don't you tell me about his draft? What'd you like about his?
I mean, his first pick was in the 10th round.
That was new to him. He struggled with it.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
He turned
right?
to me and said, "How do you do this every year?"
So like not an overall great team. I think Martinez in the 15th round, great D-man to have for Vegas. Kaloran in the 16th round, solid player. But you're gonna get what you're gonna get there. There's not really too much left.
I think he was kind of putting a little pressure on him there because every time, specifically Nick would pick a player, he'd be like, "Fuck!" Like he was like up really sued. Nick just had his numbers teamed at the draft a couple times. Myself, when I made a pick, I think he was just caught off guard with a lot of his picks. He had a plan with his players went just before he got there, and he's in new territory for himself. I like his current roster a lot better than I did the roster he drafted. And I'm not saying he drafted bad. He's drafted with what he had at that time.
Exactly. You know how
it looks, people. It's tougher than it looks. Like, but I make it look easy. But let's talk about Saucier Pass. What did you like about your draft here?
I really like my defense. I got. I'm really happy with my draft, to be honest. I had all my draft picks were below the 11th round, except for one in the 17th round. But I'm happy with what I got. That's for sure.
I like Letang, Doughty, Burns, Pietrangelo. He's pretty good with blocks, but
he did well last year too.
I don't know if I like Wheeler. I think Wheeler's kind of on the decline, but I don't know what round you got him in either. So you might have been worth
10th round.
It's worth a flyer on him at that round, right?
Yeah, that's
I like Teravainen, Fiala, Hurdle. Like I like your roster. I think you see more reliable goalie.
Yeah, I agree completely.
The Red Wings, and they actually turned out to be the Red Wings, although he only kept one. What do you think of his draft?
After all that talk, so you got a couple of goalies. Drafted 3 goalies: Swayman in the 6th round, Vanacek in the 8th round, and then Allmark in the 11th round. So
Got that Boston duo.
Yeah, exactly. And Vanacek, who could be a starter in New Jersey, we're not quite sure yet. Pretty small, non-gritty players, so I find. I do think he has a good team though. But Caulfield, Peterson, they don't put up too much hits, pims, stuff like that. But overall, good team.
I think McNabb is a steal. I love McNabb. He puts up so much grind. He was just good. He was good for me last year.
You rode him all year, right?
No, he was a waiver wire pickup. Neil dropped him early on, and I grabbed him. I rode him most of the year. But I like his team. I just don't like that he has 4 Red Wings on it. To me, on any team, like 3 is the most I would ever want, and even 3 it's tough to be like, yeah, I'm happy with that. And he's got 4 Red Wings.
Yeah, that was part of my trade too, with having 2 keepers from Toronto, 2 forwards, Nylander and Ferris. I wanted to get rid of one, so I at least split up the teams.
You need a variety, right? If one team's struggling, I don't like that he has 4 from one team, right? But if that works for you, hasn't yet. He's a former champion. Don't get me wrong, but he hasn't won since he started hoarding all these Red Wings. Paulie, the goalie, changed his name. He's no longer the King Hanks. Probably because he's never been king.
Oh, runner up.
But what did you like about his draft?
He went pretty gritty. He traded all his draft picks away though the first bunch of rounds. So I think he did a good job.
Does.
Need a rider in the 16th round. I think he's doing well. He'll have a good year in Nashville. Peterson in the 12th round. It's not bad to have as a third goalie option. He'll get some starts and could get a role if Quick goes down. He was getting pretty old, right? So I think Sean drafted pretty well for what he had available.
I like the Jarvis pick. I think Jarvis is going to have a good year. I think he was a rookie last year, so like he's up and coming, right? He had a solid year last year, so I like that pickup. Pajot's always good for some penalty kill time, so you never know what can happen out there. He blocks a lot of shots though, so he has some good pickups. A weaker version of a team that he's used to, but few moves and he should be back at it. A lot of his regular guys got picked up pretty early. I know he was not happy when Braden picked Oshie. So the whole shaft. What did you think of his draft?
Oh, give me a second here. Too fast for me. Another guy who like his first pick in the 12th round. He took a rider on Jake Allen in the 13th round. Couture picked up in the 13th round as well. I thought it was a good pickup. Segi in the 15th round, I think it was a good pickup. But at that point, it's really who do you want? Hopefully, they're still there. Hope for the best.
I think his best pickup in the draft was Beniers. Guy was great in the 10 games he played last year for Seattle. And he's expected probably to be their number 1 center this year. At worst, number 2. He had 9 points in 10 games last season. At the end of the season, he's going to be a force. He's considered their top prospect, right? So it's a low risk and again high reward pick for him. And that's one of the ones that a couple people were disappointed to see him picked off the board at that point. So
yeah, but he's traded a lot of this team away though already.
He has. He's already cycled through a bunch of them, right? But he has some good pieces there. So I think he's going to be a force this year. We'll see how far Vass can carry him.
Yep.
The last team captain, Crunch. What do you think of his draft?
He had some solid picks. Then auto draft like Malkin in the 7th round. I think it was an auto draft at least.
Yeah, he hates Malkin. He tried to get rid of him last year for nothing.
Yeah, I know. So that's a bad pickup. Dahlin in the 8th round I thought was good. Theater in the 8th round was good. Shen in the 9th round. Carey Price though. 12th round. Obviously, that's not good.
Bad pick. Yeah.
But overall, not bad. But his team will switch so much in the first before the season starts. He's going to keep being busy. So
I like the Keller pickup. I know I'm a Coyotes fan. Keller quietly had a good year last year. I didn't think he had that in him because since his rookie year, he's been kind of subpar. But last year, he put up really good numbers. If he stays healthy this year, he got a season injury last year. I think he could be a really good producer for Captain Crunch here.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, guys. That's our opinion of everyone's draft. So like I said earlier, we're going to have our week 1 show when it comes time. This is just kind of, get the hockey talk going. We had the itch a bit and we wanted to kind of talk about the draft and there's already been so many trades that it was time to discuss. We might have to do another one just for trades. Like we might have to do another one. But honestly, it's going to be a fun season, I think. Hopefully we have our first repeat champion in Team Ramrod. If not, I hope it's someone new. But no, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. The league's getting more competitive. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, last season was fun too. But I really feel this season's really balanced. It was a solid draft. I think if there was a couple auto drafts not there, it'd even been way more competitive of a draft. And I'm excited. It's gonna be a fun season.
I think even the teams that historically struggle have been improving their base, right? Like look at Braden. He got last place last year, but I don't think he's last place team this year. I think he might even be a playoff team right now.
Well, only 5 keepers, right? You're going to see that much turnover.
You got to improve those keepers, right?
It shouldn't take more than a year. It shouldn't take more than a year, Travis. It shouldn't take more than a year.
Well, Travis, I can't wait to see when he implodes. We should take a bet if anyone wants to bet on what week Travis implodes. Send me your guesses.
Send in your guesses.
But it's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna have a lot of fun this year. Yeah, pretty much that's it. I want to thank you, Corey, for joining me. As always, it was a good time just chatting, chilling, talking some hockey.
Yeah, get it going.
That's it.
Some trades here. It's the only problem. The draft is so early. It's this large window.
I didn't realize that the season was only starting on the 13th, so it was a month before the season essentially. But it's getting the trades going, so a lot of activity. I like that, giving people a lot of time to fix their rosters, right? So
it's true.
Well, we'll be back, guys, for week 1 and talk about our week 1 matchups. I know there's some pretty big matchups already in week 1, so. But we're not going to spoil it. If you really want to spoil it, just go to the matchup page and take a look for yourself. You don't need me to do everything for you. Thanks for tuning in, guys. As always, your commissioner and former champion. Thank you for watching. Have a good night, guys.
See you later.